All right. Cool. Welcome to the Cult of Personality Podcast, Season 3, Episode 7. I'm your host, per usual, Mikeymcchoppa, coming with you today from the Cult of Personality studio live. Just kidding. We're not live, pre recorded. However, you know, I have this makeshift setup going on. I was just telling our guest prior to the interview that this is a whole weird experimental thing right now. But with me today, our guest is the man, the myth, the legend, JK. Atypical issue. How's it going today?
Um, I know I'm still alive, and a lot of people with music say you have to die to be a legend. So I'll get there eventually. But what's up? What's up?
we're
You
all
know,
we're legends in our own right, but we're not just there yet by like societal standards. So trust me, I think
exactly.
all you guys are legends, but we're not legends in the world's eyes just yet. But how's it going today? Tell me what's up with you, man. What's been up?
What's up? What's up? It's a boy. A typical issue. I mean, not really much is going on right now. I kind of, woke up, lived, repping Edward from Twilight today. That's
There
what's
you
going
go.
on. You know.
That
Um. Yeah, I mean, but I guess to be more specific in what's going on in the music world, I'm currently working on an album. It probably will be out by the time this goes up. I don't know.
when's the release date for that?
I don't have a release date on that. I just know I'm releasing it sometime within the first 2 weeks of March, before the 11th,
Okay, and today's what?
the second
What day is it of the week? Thursday?
Thursday. Yeah.
This will probably come out. I don't know. This might come out before then because this comes out Monday. This upcoming Monday.
All right. Well, then if you watch this and you heard it first.
There you go. Either it's coming up or it's out, motherfucker. So
Yeah.
that's what's up, though. That's cool. I'm glad that you use this like beginning time to like put that on the map. Let people get a go rush to that link wherever it may
I
be.
mean, they can do what they want, I guess. Yeah. That's what I'm doing, I guess.
Yeah, man. That's sick. So,
Yeah.
where are you from?
Well, I was mainly raised in Orlando, Florida. That's where I started my music career, and that's where I think my music career peaked, to be honest. I feel like I've been falling off a little bit. Um, but I live in Tennessee,
That's
which
awesome.
is
Smooth move.
very weird.
How was that difference like?
Rent is cheaper, less people. I mean, that's pretty much
Orlando.
it.
Orlando's pretty expensive now, right?
Yeah, I actually am going to Orlando in like 10 days with my fiance. We're gonna go to Universal and shit, just have fun. But
That's what's up.
I Orlando's more of a vacation place to me. I could never live there again.
Yeah, that's how I feel about it too. I have family that lives in Orlando and like we'll visit every now and then or whatever, every couple months or maybe like once a year. And like everybody, all my old family swears they're gonna all move to Florida and shit whenever they visit and stuff like that. I'm like, I'm not, fuck that. And
Yeah.
it's just that's I feel the same way about it. It's like very recreational. I wouldn't want to live there. It's hot
Exactly.
all the time, or not all the time, but at least like way more than it is up north.
Yeah.
How's Tennessee treating you? Like, how's that? This isn't that like the city of music or the city of fucking country or some shit?
I don't make country music, so it's not for me. I actually live in a smaller city, 3 hours away from Nashville, which is like mainly known for the city of like country music. There's
Right.
pictures of Dolly Parton everywhere. There's not a
Yeah,
single venue near me. It sucks. I hate it. I hate it so much.
that's crazy.
I hate it.
Damn.
Yeah,
So there's no scene out there where you're at in Tennessee?
not at all. Not
Got it.
at all. Not at all. I'm like so alone here with music, but it happens.
Fuck it. Sometimes you're just on that grind time dolo.
Yeah, if I think that's what really proves to me, like if the music really matters to me, like if I can do it solo for this long. I've lived here for 3 years now, so it's like,
Yeah,
yeah,
exactly. What do you? I mean, it's always cool to get exposure and stuff like with live shows, but who needs like a collective or anything like that? Fuck
right,
that. Just do it yourself. But
yeah.
yeah, I just wanted to establish some like fundamentals of just what's going on right now, what's important before we like ramble on into the rest of the shit.
Right, okay.
But I mean, I won't. dilly dally. I won't beat around the bush. This kind of just comes to the first question of the podcast. If you're familiar with it, then that's great.
Right.
But it goes a little like this, which is that atypical issue: its name, the image, the aura, and the energy. How to start, how to get here, and everything in between. Kind of like your whole origin story and so on.
All right. Um, so when I was in kindergarten, I really wanted to be a poet. I loved Shel Silverstein. I always read the what's the story called? Like the poem book about like the attic where the guy's head is an attic. I don't know if you've ever seen that. It was a very popular book when I was younger. I
I
always
might
wanted
have.
to be I always wanted to be a poet, so I would always write poems and like little things of poetry, but then I started turning those into like little song lyrics and I performed them for my music class and I won an award when I was 6 years old for being musically gifted, a prodigy basically, but like not like an actual prodigy, you know what I mean? They wanted to call me that to make me sound better.
Right.
Um so I would write songs and I realized, oh shit, girls like this. I can use this to get girls. So fourth grade player me was making songs about girls in school. Until one of them said that it was harassment and reported me to the school. Uh,
Damn.
all I did was make a song. I
What
don't
the
know.
fuck?
So basically cancel a typical. He's a harasser. I'm just kidding. Uh, anyways, yeah. So fucking after I continue with school and stuff like that. I'm gonna get a little deep here. Get a little deep, you know. You know, if you're watching this and you're in a good mood, turn the lights off. It's gonna get a little dark.
All right.
So I had my family. I won't say I came from dog shit. My family worked very hard, worked their ass off to give me everything that I have now or everything
Right.
that I was let off to, grow up with. I was a spoiled fucking kid. I was a spoiled white piece of shit. um, my dad had issues with the company he was working with. He was a self-employed, self-company person. He dropped out of school, started his own company, and he lost that company due to certain issues with like licensings and renewals and all that stuff. So we had to move into a very less fortunate place, and I wasn't used to it because I was grown from having everything.
Right.
Um, we moved to Orlando, Florida from North Carolina when I was very young, and I went to a very, very ghetto school. And since I had new clothes to wear every day, like I looked like I was like rich and fortunate when in reality it's just stuff I had from before.
What
People,
school? What's before you continue on? What school did you go to?
that school is Dr. Phillips High School.
Dr. Phillips High School. Okay,
Dr. Phillips
continue.
High School is one of the worst fucking schools ever. The only thing they do with their money is give it to the football team, and all those football team people do is touch women. I'm just saying.
Yeah,
Worst
that's how I went for
worst
my high
school
school
ever.
too. And I went to high school in upstate New York, which they have good funding, but they do the same shit.
Yeah.
But continue on.
So I went to that school and nobody really knew me. I was the only white kid in my class. It was very easy for people to just be like, "Oh, white kid did this, white kid did that," because they could just point and say this is my skin color. Because I was the only white kid. Like it was like a fucking Oreo. I was in the middle, white, and then I'm not.
You
That
know?
sounds so wrong when I say it like that, but
Nah, I feel you. It's
I'm making fun of
majority.
how white I am. Do you see me? I look like fucking. I'm like white as shit.
Right.
Um,
It definitely was easy to stick out when majority.
yeah,
I know
that's
how Orlando is, especially like the more I guess you would say like hood areas and shit like that. It's mostly Hispanic and black.
right.
So, a lot of
So
Haitians and Jamaicans stuff over there. Shout out Orlando.
yeah, shout out. I love Orlando, but so somebody got their phone stolen at this school and they pinpointed it on me. I swear on my life, on everything that I didn't do it, but I heard people go, "Oh, white kid did it." I heard that in the corner. I'm like, "Fuck." I got my ass beat. Bad.
Damn.
Bad. I got my ass beat, like fucking destroyed. Head kicked into the locker, like lip ripped type shit. Like I was fucked up.
Damn.
And I hadn't written in so long, and the very first thing that I did for the first time in such a long time was sit down and write a song about it. And I
Yeah.
really realized that I can vent about not just the good things, the light that I felt in my life, or do this just to impress people, but I can really do this to fill the gap in the people in the lack of people I have to talk to now that I've moved to a new state and have no friends. Like I can really put my feelings into this music. And so I actually dropped out of school because I got tremors. I don't know what the fuck they kicked my brain into, but my anxiety got really bad. I got really afraid that I was gonna get my ass beat again. So um I started making music and I dropped out and I stayed in my room. I dropped out when I was 14 years old and stayed in my room and just made music. That's how it started.
All right. So that's
Yeah.
quite an interest, like a unique origins compared to what we've had on the podcast. It almost sounds like a superhero arc. It's like,
I
like
wish I could say it was a hero arc, but it was more of a villain arc.
or a villain arc, like some sort of like real like comic book esque like story, and this is real life that you're talking about, type shit. So that's crazy. But thank you for sharing that, and
Of
being
course.
so vulnerable on the podcast, and really just letting us know
Of
what it is.
course.
But
Yes,
yeah,
I'm a
man.
bottom in bed, so I'm very vulnerable. Um,
So get this, how old are you now, man?
I am turning 20 this year.
Turning 20 this year. That's what's up.
Yep.
I just turned 20 like a couple weeks ago. So shout
Oh
out
yeah.
us.
Happy belated. Happy
Thank
belated.
you. Thank you.
Yep.
So how did it transpire from there? I mean, keep going with how you've evolved since then.
All right. So the same year that I got my ass beat, I joined boxing classes.
Okay.
Uh I've now been boxing for 6, 7 years. I also do have a championship record in Orlando, Florida. I'm 8 times, 8 KOs, 0 knockouts from me. I've knocked out 8 people, 8-0, eight
Yeah,
knockouts.
yeah,
So I'm
yeah.
I'm
You have
chilling.
a
We're good
record
now.
right now.
I hope they try again. I hope they try again.
You have a good record right now. That's what's
Thank
up.
you. I sometimes I pray that I'll see them again. But anyways, um, so I began making music. I recorded in Audacity with a microphone that I actually now have framed, and I will show that on the camera. This is a microphone you get on Amazon for $20. It's a BM New Era BM 800.
Wow.
Everyone's seen this fucking microphone. It's cheap as shit. Everyone always brags about it, like, oh, it's an XLR cable, but bro, it's not cool if it's XLR if it's a USB on the other side of it.
Right.
So, so I was just making music on that from 2017 to 2019 until I got a Blue Yeti, which is what I'm talking on now.
Right.
Um, my music fucking sucked back then. I'm not gonna lie. I was just talking about the shit that I was doing because after I dropped out of school, I would just go to parties with my neighbor. His name is Bradley, and we would just like do stupid drugs, stuff I regret, and I would just talk about that in music. And it got so bad to the point where I tried to be TK. I wanted to be a knockoff TK.
This man
Just
was out
saying.
here. What were you talking about or like discussing in your music? It was just like turn up, shoot people, whatever the
Well,
fuck. Like you was like on some crazy shit. Like
that's why it's disappointing because that's why it's so disappointing because when I first started music, my first song ever was called Hatred, and it was about, not feeling like you fit in and being so alone and realizing you're gonna die alone. And then after I dropped out and started boxing, I got some fucking ego for sitting in my room like a hermit, and I started saying really dumb shit. And I'm gonna quote a lyric from a song from 2019.
that.
2019, me said, "Your bitch addicted to me like an alcoholic. I'm addicted to my Glock. I'm a Glockaholic."
That shit low key go hard though.
No, it don't lie to me, bro. That was
It low key
2019.
go hard though. I don't know.
Oh, I
Some of
was
my
like,
favorite music is about, the most fucked up, reckless shit that be going on. So I
yeah.
can't sit here and be like, yo, that shit ain't
Well,
hard, you
well,
know?
that's
It
the well, that's the thing. I used to cap in my music so much. I have not capped in my music since 2020, since 2021. I will be honest. Since 2021, there's been no cap in my music.
I feel you, man. I mean, I feel like that's the part that would definitely be like disappointing, the fact that it's capped. But like if you were like really standing on your shit, like if you were really about that life talking about I'm a Glockaholic, I would bump that shit.
Right.
OD, you know?
Well, I'll help you out here. If I jump and fast forward a little bit, um, if I jump and fast forward a little bit, there was some stuff going on in Orlando around 2020, like when I moved out. And some stuff in
Right,
2020. I was friends with this guy. I will not say his name because that would be me snitching. That'd be the equivalent of me snitching.
right.
This dude was about it. Like he was about shit. Like this motherfucker lived in probably if you Google the place he lived in, the first thing that comes up is caution tape and police around it. It doesn't even show the community.
Oh shit.
And so I was always around there in 2020. and this motherfucker would bring me like to like the craziest
Like
places.
the trenches and shit.
Yeah, like the craziest house parties, like warehouse places and shit. And one day he brought me to a fucking like a warehouse party, and these dudes come up to us and they have red bandanas hanging from their pants, right? And that's what you see in Florida. You see Bloods all the time, especially in Jacksonville. Holy shit. But this is the day that I learned that this dude that I've been hanging with around for so long is on his ones. He reps blue. And I'm
Oh
like,
shit.
oh shit. Yeah, in Florida, that's crazy. And this is wild because I'm just standing here, don't doing what the fuck they do. And this dude passes me a gun and he's like, yo, start shooting. I'm not snitching on myself. If there's police or if there's feds watching this, I did what I had to do. I did what I had to do. But the people, turns out I don't care. I'm gonna say their names because they're ops as fuck. I have a song about it, and that's why I'm saying this. There's a stupid street gang name called 65 out in Orlando, and 6500 6500. They think they're cool. Anyways, fuck them. Uh, they tried to like, I don't know if I can say that word. Trigger
What?
word, like R. It starts with a R.
What? You can say whatever. I don't care as long as it's not
All
like
right.
I don't give a fuck. I'm not like monetized or anything like
Okay.
on
All right.
YouTube or anything.
They tried to rape my girlfriend at the time.
Yeah, that's fucked up.
I wasn't having that. So I did it. I street fought them, and then they tried to look for me because I won.
Right.
And I have a song out now called 6500 Ops, 6500 PPS, 6500 Ops. And so to basically answer your short statement with this very long answer, that song's not cap. So if you want
So
to hear stuff about
there
gun
is no
talk, there
cap.
you go.
Glockaholic, real shit, live,
It
cult
just took me 2
personality,
years to catch up, but
cult personality, live, Glockaholics. No, I'm kidding. In all seriousness, holy shit, man, that's quite the fucking story to like show that you're not capped in the music, you know?
it's a very interesting story.
That's a very interesting story, and it's crazy that I feel like I'm like Vlad TV right now. I'm like, damn, you just talked
That's
about some
something
crazy shit on the
that's
pod.
something I always get told is like that. People always say like, "Damn, like your life's fucking weird. Like you have such a weird life." And I'm always like, "Yeah, I really do." And I always think, "Damn, if I were to direct a movie about myself, I wouldn't want to be the main character. I'd want to be the side character that like goes through so much shit, but then just pops in. He's like the funny character, but then behind the scenes, he's like going through some crazy ass shit."
It'd be
I
so funny if the side character was played by the dude who the main character is about.
Yeah, I just think that shit's so funny. I'm writing a book actually currently on my life.
Really?
Yeah, because I love writing so much. So it's like, and I feel like I ramble so much. So it's like, why not just write what happens in detail?
How's that book coming along?
I'm 133 pages in right now.
All right, that's what's up.
Yeah. So that's how that's going right now. It's
Do
going all
you
right.
do you plan on like distributing it like Amazon type shit or
I'm only gonna be able to send it to people because if I distributed that, I don't think I would live to see another day of freedom for the rest of my life if that was out.
damn, he said self-indictment.
That's like some crazy shit. Yeah. Like
I
that's
feel ya.
literally I'm right. That's basically a confession. If I brought my book into the police, that's a confession.
Yeah. You gotta keep it discreet, like
Exactly.
to avoid certain ears. But no, yeah, man. I mean,
Or
and so
eyes.
right. So moving on from the key, like number one, the chaotic, environment of Florida, and it's funny because like I'm familiar with Florida. I have people out there
Right.
in Florida that I know who are in shit for real, and Florida just I kind of feel like brings that energy. No matter where you are, it finds you somehow. But how was it transitioning now after all this chaos and going through all this shit? How was it moving to somewhere isolated like Tennessee and being away from all that chaos and not
Okay.
having that like fuel to your fire when it comes to that aspect of life?
Um, Moving from Orlando to Tennessee was definitely hard for me. I I had so many memories in the house that I lived in Florida,
Right.
that I didn't want to leave it. I had so many people in Florida that I didn't want to leave. I now, fast forward, I know it was a blessing in disguise, but it was so difficult from September to December because that's, around the time I left.
Right.
September to December, I think it was probably one of the worst like depression episodes I've ever had. Like it was so bad. Like I got here, I got Tinder the same week. I hooked up with some random bitch and just sat in my room and like cried, and she would text me and be like, "What's wrong?" And I'd be like, "I relapsed." And then she made a TikTok about me and got viral.
What?
She's like, I asked a guy who I had a crush on what was wrong since he was crying and he relapsed. LOL. And she got a million views.
Wow.
Yeah, so
I
that
mean,
was my introduction to
what
Tennessee.
was what was the reason for her to even like put your personal shit onto a platform like that? Like, y'all don't even know each other like that for
Views.
real, right?
Views and she got him. Views and she got him.
That's
Well,
insane.
I took her virginity and then ghosted her. So honestly, it's okay.
All
It's
right,
okay.
all right.
Yeah, I'm not gonna lie. I'm gonna if I'm self-aware. If I did a fucked up thing, I did a fucked up thing.
You had it coming. What sign are you? What zodiac sign are you?
I'm a Virgo.
A Virgo. Okay, I was thinking
Yep.
Libra, but that they're right next to each other. So that's funny, man. That's crazy. Um, shit's crazy. So that was a terrible introduction to Tennessee. That's like a terrible first taste in your mouth,
Oh
you
yeah.
know?
And before we get off the topic of zodiacs, I know your zodiac because you're the same zodiac as my fiance. So shout out Aquariuses up in this bit. We love Aquariuses.
Shout out Aquarius. Yo, Aquarius are really just like mad chill. The fact that people like don't fuck with Aquarius, I'm like, what are you doing
Yeah,
wrong in that case? Because I think we're
that's what
just
I'm
cool,
saying.
chill individuals, you know? That's just how we rock.
Exactly.
Yeah, man.
Exactly. Basically, cop you an Aquarius. They like
Fact.
matchas and Miatas.
Facts. I love matcha. Matcha's great. I don't know much about
Exactly.
Miatas, but I love matchas, that's for
It
sure.
just has a nice ring to it. That's why I say it.
Right? Exactly. But
Matcha and Miatas. Next
no,
album, Matcha and Miata. No, I'm just
next
kidding. That's not what it's
EP,
called.
next single, Matcha Miatas, we
Not what it's
flexed up
called.
like this, two
Sheesh.
cups and a Miata. But no, yeah, man. That's a crazy first introduction. And when did you move to Tennessee? Recently?
I said 3 years at the beginning of this, but I meant two. My bad. That was an accident. This would be my second year in Tennessee, September 2021.
All right, okay. That's what's up.
Yep.
So how's life been since then?
It's ever since then. So here's the funny thing. I'm saying the word fiance, like meaning I'm an engaged man, but
Right.
I met her in January of 2022. So we haven't even been together a year.
Oh man, don't even
A
don't
lot of
even
people judge. A lot of people
don't
judge. So
even trip, man. I've been with my girl since February 2022, so we just hit a year this last month, and we moved in before our anniversary together. I live with my girl now, you know. So I feel you with.
okay.
I don't judge. It's cool, you
Okay, I
know. You
respect that.
move,
I
you
mean,
move, you move at your pace. The pace you guys feel comfortable, and that's it, you know, type
exactly.
shit.
Exactly. So I'm gonna tell that funny little story. I met her in January right after that bullshit TikTok thing. And we were together for 3 months, like 2 3 months. And then March we had a falling out, and I ended up dropping a diss track on her.
Damn.
And I dropped the diss track for reasons I don't even know why. For some reason, I thought she was still in love with her ex. So I was mad. I was so lost and overthinking that I made it out to be fact when it wasn't. And
Right.
I made a song about it. And she got really mad at me, and we blocked each other. And then we rekindled our relationship in August, like May to August, sometime around that in 2022. And we got back together. We've been good ever since. I proposed in December. We're chilling.
Well, congratulations to you guys. You know,
Thank you, thank you. That's
my
like the thing. We went through the worst before, so it's like there's nothing else. We haven't had a single argument actually since we got back together. That's
that's
crazy.
that's awesome. I mean, it's like cut all the bullshit out. You know, let's really see what the relationship is about and how dedicated you guys are to each other. You know,
Oh
but
yeah.
the only question I have is like, how the fuck could you even apologize after writing a whole diss track about someone?
Oh, um, I hit her up. Actually, I hit her up because she liked one of my songs on SoundCloud.
Hmm.
Um, she liked one of my songs on SoundCloud, and I was like, shit, this is my opening. If I don't do it now, I never will. Because I'm not gonna lie to you, this girl, like I don't know, when she blocked me, I realized like that I was tripping, and I knew I loved her. I knew I loved her, but I never told her that yet.
Right.
But she had told me that she felt that way about me, so I felt so fucked up. I felt so fucked. And I would try to replace her with people who looked like her to like try to like convince myself that, oh, you just liked her appearance. I tried so hard to convince myself that I was just an asshole. But it
Right.
turns out I really loved her for her. Like I really loved her for her. And so when I saw she liked one of my songs, the first thing I did was just came back and kissed ass. Like simply. I came back, I kissed
He
ass. I
said,
texted her.
"Fuck all the ego." He said, "Fuck the fucking pride and the manhood." I came back and I was simping.
Fuck a manhood. Seriously, like fuck all that shit. I came back. I straight up apologized. And here's the thing: she loves long hair. I've been growing out my hair since we got back together. But my head was fucking shaved when me and her started talking again, and she gave me another
Damn.
chance. So that proved that she still had that feeling for me. Because let's be real, if she didn't, she wouldn't have fucking gave me the time of day. My hair was
Right.
short as shit. I had a buzz cut. I looked like a fucking I don't even Steve Buscemi type shit. Like I looked bad. I
Damn.
looked I looked bad. I was down. I was down. I was down. I was down.
He said,
Um,
"Steve Boo fucking Shemmy." No,
yeah,
yeah.
I was down because in between, I didn't even mention this, but from June to late August of 2022, I lived back in Florida. I lived in Jacksonville.
Okay.
Yep,
It wasn't too long of a phase, right? What'd you say the first date was?
June to June 2022 to like August 2022.
Okay, so 2 months. What made you go back for the 2 months? Just like,
Oh, all right. So turn those lights back off real quick.
all right, all right, all right.
um, I got kicked out. Um, I was having mental shit, and I'll say one thing: I love my family to death, but the one thing they don't understand is mental health. Anytime I tell them, yo, I really like need to focus on my mental health, or I need a mental health day, they would tell me that shit doesn't exist, and it was just an excuse to be lazy.
Right.
And
I mean,
I
I've heard it before too. It's like, what the
yeah.
fuck?
So I got myself therapy, and I was feeling so much better. I was talking to somebody I felt comfortable talking to. And my mom straight up told me the therapist doesn't care about how you feel. The only thing you're doing is putting money in his pocket. If you think that therapist cares more than I do, then leave. And so I left.
Shit.
Yeah,
He
and
stuck to it.
I did. I moved in with another artist. We did shows. We opened up for Sauce Walka. We did some other shows with one of my favorite tattoo artists. Shout out J Rock. But we did some music shit. It was fun. I shaved my head. That's how you know I was going through it. Like,
I feel you, man. I feel you.
but I came back. I called my mom. I was like, I can't do this anymore. I came back.
That's
So I'm
awesome,
here
man.
now.
That's
Now I'm
awesome.
back, you know.
Yeah.
Yeah.
With that being said, I mean, moving away from the dark depths of your personal, like real personal, even though like this isn't me like retracting, like, oh, we shouldn't talk about it anymore. I think it was great that we even discussed it because that was
Yeah.
like a whole different level of the podcast that we don't really have usually. We usually just kind of keep it very like about music, not because I choose to, just because
I
that's
think
just
that's I'm
how the
gonna say
flow
that
of shit goes.
I think a lot of underground artists always try to say, "Oh, I'm different from all these other artists," but it's just because of their music. I feel like I'm different because when I talk about my music, I talk about myself because I am my music. So it's like, why talk about just the lyrics that I'm writing when I can talk about my life, what inspired, what creates the music. So that's how I always view it.
Right, which gives you a whole different perspective than if someone were just to describe what a song was about rather than describe what an event that a song was written about type shit, like
Right.
rather than making the song the focal point, you're making what was behind the song the focal point, which is your life.
Mhm.
And I think that's really cool.
Thank
So,
you.
with that being said, moving henceforth though into more of the music side of things, you were talking about right now how you did shows for this time period and you turned up,
Mhm.
shaved your head, did a collab event with one of your favorite tattoo artists, shit like that. Tell me about that. How did that all go? Give me like the details of that.
Alrighty. So, I got a call one day from an artist, and he was like, "Yo, do you want to do a show out with J Rock, the tattoo artist?" And I was like, "I've never done a show before." And he was like, "Oh, you got it. You're all good.
Hold on, let me
Um,
decline
all
this
good,
phone call real quick.
all good."
Or maybe I should answer it. It looks important. Give me a second. In Brooklyn, because that's what I do to make money. But like I just go around to whatever building they send me type shit. But
Oh
recent
shit! Wait, you're out in Brooklyn?
Yeah,
Hold on,
man.
you follow an artist that's also from Brooklyn.
Who?
Young Bob.
Yeah, I do follow Young Bob.
Are
That's
you are you guys like you guys mutual, or do you just follow him because he's from the same area, or did you even know he was in the same area?
I met him once, but he doesn't follow me back. I follow him,
He
and that's
doesn't follow
because
anybody right now.
yeah, yeah, yeah. So I
Yeah,
follow.
that's
I
my
met,
boy. That's why I was asking.
I met
I
him.
love Bob.
That's awesome. I met him
Yeah.
once, and that's because he is cool with Euron, my friend Euron, also known as Noru, also known as Semi Siren now. So however you get a wind of
Shout
him
out Semi
nowadays,
Siren.
right? And they were cool, and I went to a show that my boy was performing at in Brooklyn in July, and Young Bob was also there, and he recognized me.
I know that. I know that show. That was the house. That was that house show.
Yeah, yeah, yeah.
Yep.
He recognized me. I didn't even recognize because he knew me from like what shit I did with my boy type shit. And I was like, oh shit, like whatever, cool. So I know of him. We're not like super cool or
Okay.
anything, but like we know of each other.
If you want to get him on the podcast, I could text him and ask. I could ask him.
Facts. I mean, I definitely try to get a lot of people from that show on the
Yeah.
podcast too.
Young Bob's fucking
I
sick.
would definitely love to have him on.
I got a song with him called Bad Kids. Y'all can go stream
Go
it.
stream that. Fuck yeah.
Yeah. He goes
That's
by
really
Sideshow now, but shout out.
that's awesome. I didn't know you guys had any sort of like link. That's awesome.
That's how I found you. I saw you in the mutuals, and then I saw you did an interview with another shout out Londova. That's
Shout
my
out
boy. I
Lando.
love him, so good at music. And then I saw you did an interview. I was like, I fuck with this, and that's how I started watching. So you can thank Londova for me being a fan and a supporter, because I'm really out here. Like, I love that shit. The one you just did with Valley Graham, I loved that shit. That was my favorite one yet.
Thank you. That's awesome.
Of
So
course.
you're like a really like you're like a real supporter of this shit, which I
Oh yeah,
appreciate. Thank you. That's awesome. I really appreciate hearing that. That's really
of
cool.
course.
Um,
Yeah.
but where did we leave off before the phone
Oh
call?
right. I got a call to do my first show ever. I'd never done a show. I went in there, just did that shit. Some people told me, oh, I was the best performance of the night. And there was people performing there who had done Warped Tour for like years and years and years. And it was my first show ever. And I was told that I outshined a lot of people. That's when I realized, okay, I'm a performer.
Right.
8 days later, I did a show for Sauce Walka, somebody who has a song with X, somebody who's got 1 million Spotify listeners. 8 days later, I'm already on stage with somebody with over 1 mil.
Right.
I don't know how the fuck I did that, but
And that's really just how shit be happening
I
too.
did that shit. I had people who knew my song lyrics that I didn't even know. I didn't even know who they were. People taking pictures with me. Like, I really felt like I was fucking famous. Like, I was like, damn, this shit's sick as fuck. I wish I could feel like this every day. And then I came back to Tennessee. Shit sucked. So I did a show in my garage. I
How'd
threw a
that turn
show in
out?
my garage. That shit was fucking dope. It was sick.
A lot of people popped out.
I kept it more exclusive actually.
Oh, okay. So that's
Yeah,
awesome. That's cool.
it was really fun though.
That's awesome. Yeah, I turned
Yeah.
up. Yeah, man.
So that's how
It,
that went about.
it's crazy how the stars align and shit like that though. Like I don't know, like maybe you can call it luck, you can call it a blessing where you just kind of like I don't know, you even try one like something once or it's your first go at something and you just somehow like find a click with it, find like and you're on a roll afterwards. That's really
Yeah.
fucking cool. Um and the whole thing with Walka and kind of going up like that social ladder musically, the underground social ladder is really fucking dope.
Yeah.
Yeah,
No, for
man.
sure.
So
Yeah.
moving away from live performances and stuff like that, tell me a little bit about what you're working on now, or maybe what you plan on working on when it comes to your music or anything like that. Because we talked a lot about what you have out already and like shit behind that and stuff like that. I feel like your ongoing legacy, but let's talk about where it's heading from here, type shit.
Okay. Um, I'm gonna say very I've recently been very influenced by new artists that I didn't really listen to. And it's funny because people growing up, I always heard the term, oh, your music's like a wannabe Lil Peep, but I had never listened to Lil Peep actually. I'm not even gonna lie to you. Um, And I was always just like, thanks, because I knew he was, held so highly in the underground, but I never actually given the chance to listen to him. And my fiance loves Loki, like it's one of her favorite artists. So when I, got back with her, I really started listening to that shit. And he's one of my favorite artists now. I have his love tattoo on my stomach. Like I love him so much, and he's inspired a lot. But not in the way of where my music's gone very sad, ambient, reverby, but like almost in a way of with the way that I write. You know,
Mm,
I used to really just be all over the place with my writing. I feel like my pacing's got a little bit better.
mm-hmm.
Um, and I definitely say that. So a lot of the stuff I made back then was almost like poems on beats, but now the stuff I make is very like word spoken. Like I make sure that the stuff I say is more similes than metaphors, I guess, in a way,
Right.
if that helps.
And that's really cool that you mentioned the Peep inspiration because it's gonna help me get to a question right after this. But I fucking love Little Peep. I loved
Yeah,
Little Peep since August 2017. So when he died, I was fucking devastated. And he's just such a magnetic individual when it comes to like an underground icon, legend, or whatever. So I
right.
thought I think that's really cool that you recently ignited that liking for Lil Peep and it inspired you like kind of off rip. Because the only reason why I even grab interest in it is because we talk about Lil Peep a lot on the podcast.
Yeah, a
Because
lot of underground artists. I don't think
everybody
there's an
is
underground
inspired by
artist who
fucking
doesn't
Lil
like
Peep,
Lil Peep. Everyone loves Lil Peep.
right? So when it comes,
I think that's the thing. A lot of people's favorite artists are probably inspired by Lil Peep.
right, you
Like
know,
this is fact.
so it's really cool that you mentioned that. But um, so it's cool that you take inspiration from him, even if it's not too much or too like obvious. But moving henceforth, let's talk a little bit more. This is usually like my second question in the podcast, but I've been more focused on randomizing the conversation and not making it so predictable.
Right.
But just give me a rundown of some of your favorite musical inspirations, artists or friends or parents or whoever musically inclined or not musically inclined, people who just inspired you to be where you are today in front of a
Okay.
microphone type shit.
All right. This is gonna come out of a shock to a lot of people. I hate when people are like, "Oh, I don't listen to mainstream. I listen to stuff you've never heard of." But like,
Right.
this is gonna sound crazy. You might know who these people are. My biggest inspirations for music is Fright and Quadeca. So you know either of those people?
Fright or Quadeca, you said?
Yes, Right or Quadeca.
Right. No, I don't think I've ever heard of
Okay.
those people.
Quadeca is a YouTube rapper, actually.
Okay.
And he recently has been stopped rapping and producing all of his own stuff and recording ambient stuff. He now makes music with like what is it? Like he makes like Kanye church music now. It's kind of crazy
Oh
how that
shit.
goes.
This man
And
makes gospel music now?
yep, and Sprite. There's a viral video of him where he did a remix of Gucci Flip Flops by Bad Baby, but he did it gay.
Oh
Gucci
shit.
Flip Flops, sucker, dick through a
The
sock. I don't know
sock,
if
yeah.
you
Yeah, I
seen that.
remember. Yeah.
One of my favorite artists. I love him. He makes really good music, but he's always gonna be overshadowed by his gay rap.
Yeah. I
So those are my inspirations for music.
those are really, really, really like I feel like niche inspirations. It's
Yeah,
it's like it's funny because I know of one of them now that you mentioned like the gay rap shit, but I would have never thought that would have been like an inspiration on someone's list. But that's really
yeah.
fucking dope.
I'm not gay.
It's fuck it though. It's just like that's really cool that you grab inspiration from like somewhere unexpected type shit.
Yeah.
So moving ahead first, keep it snappy or whatever. I wanted to ask about things outside of music related to music that you may have or plan working on. We talked a little bit about shows, but it goes deeper than that. So I don't know. Have you had any music videos or do you plan on doing anything, I guess, extra, like extracurricular, even though it's not like a curriculum, but something extra on top of the
Right.
music?
I guess to answer the music video question really quick, I'm sick of making music videos like by myself. Dude, like I said, there's nobody in Tennessee. Like I've gone on Facebook, I've gone on, Instagram tags, like Reels, location post services, all that stuff to look for videographers, people interested in recording music videos. Nothing. Nothing. It's insane how little things there are over here. I did have one venue in Knoxville reach out to do a show for me, and I was like, okay, this is sick. And they're like, oh yeah, you got to bring your own speaker, your own mic, your own this, your own that. I'm like, damn, okay. So it
They
just
said
it
pretty. You want it, At
Bring
that
the
point,
venue to
you
me.
might as well just run your own show. Like the fuck, I'm bringing
Yeah.
all the equipment. You're just bringing the space. Like, I
And
mean, it's
yeah, so that's basically sorry to get off topic there,
no, it's fine.
but so I guess outside of music, really, I'm just trying to work, move places. Um, I haven't been boxing as much as I would like to recently. I've been kind of busy with a lot of shit. But, other than that, working on the album, working on figuring that shit out. Yeah, I mean, that's pretty much it. I don't really do much else. I just spend time with my girl. That's pretty much it.
Me too. So I don't
Yeah,
blame you. When it comes no, yeah, when it comes to music video shit, that's definitely like a process that it's better with people rather than like alone. Better to have
exactly.
someone behind the camera rather than you just post up the camera and shit like that.
Yeah.
So I completely understand why you like would refrain from it for now, you know?
Hmm.
But that's really cool. I mean that you had like a different answer to it. A lot of people be like, "Yeah, I'm working on music video." You're like, "Nah, I'm fucking sick of it doing it on my own." I'm like, "I feel you. I get it. I get it completely."
I'm just being real.
Yeah, you know that, and I think that's the best part about it. It's just you being real. You know, that's who
That's
you be.
I think that's another thing. I feel like a lot of underground artists, they're always like, "Oh, I'm so alone," but they got friends.
I feel like a lot of people do shit. Does a lot of people do shit or does shit or however you want to word it for the image, and I feel like that's obvious. But
Yeah,
I feel like a lot of people come if you want to do something for an image. I think that's cool to do for your with your music or music videos or on Instagram or whatever. But like when you come on an interview and you're keeping the gimmick on, like if this is like wrestling or stuff like that,
right.
then it's like, what are you doing? Like, why are you talking to me, a real person, and we're having a real conversation, and you're putting on a character or a front? You know?
That's why I don't fuck with Oliver Tree anymore.
Yeah,
That's why I don't fuck with him anymore. I think
someone
that
like
shit's so
that.
corny.
It's just like, cause I get it. Like you're dedicated to whatever you do. You're dedicated to your character or however the fuck you want to put it. You're dedicated to your vision. It's great, but like, I don't know. I feel like it's very inconsistent to like the other end of that interaction, like if you're doing an interview or something like that. But this might be
Yeah.
I might be biased because like I'm an interviewer. I'm like, yeah, like it makes it hard to converse and da da da, you know? So maybe I'm just biased. But that was a tangent. That was I got off track, you know?
All good.
So moving henceforth, moving onward, however the fuck. Um I mean, shit, let me think. This is what happens when you smoke too much. You start burning out.
Yeah.
But I mean, do you smoke?
Not weed.
Not weed.
Not weed.
Cigs?
Not
Or are we talking about
yeah.
something crazy? I'm like, yo, it's
I
meth?
smoke I smoke cigs, yeah.
Okay, okay. That's fine, that's fine.
Yeah.
Don't put your head down in shame. We all know someone who smokes cigs.
Nah, it's gross. It's gross. It's gross. It's not good.
Do you plan on like quitting?
No, no.
No, you're just stuck on it. I feel you.
Yeah.
I feel you.
Being real, being honest.
Yeah, yeah. I mean, my mom smokes and shit like that. She smokes cigs, but she recently just moved on to a vape. She can't like.
I do that too.
It's so funny. I like like I'm not living with my mom anymore, so now I come upstate every now and then, upstate New York type shit, because that's where my mom is. Shout out my mom. And I come upstairs, or I come upstate, and then I come upstairs of my childhood, or whatever, not childhood home, but my home of the last 5 years before I moved. And my mom's fucking smoking a vape. I'm like, what the fuck are you doing? Like, when did this
Damn,
start?
I didn't know you were chill like that.
Yeah, yeah. Like, she's like, oh no, I'm trying to quit, but then I was just like, that's funny. So
You just walk out, she blowing O's like,
facts, like she's the fucking fat clouds, like 2016 shit.
hey yo, watch this.
Yeah, yeah, yeah. So, it fucking yeah, man. I don't shame anyone for smoking cigs or whatever. I mean,
Yeah, I feel you.
I'd rather much smoke weed than smoke a cigarette. I've never smoked a cigarette in my life. I've hit nicotine.
I could tell you a story.
Bet. Give us a story.
All right. I'm gonna pull up pictures with this one.
Bet.
So the last time I smoked because I've smoked since this incident, but I basically like I've only smoked a little bit since this, but this is the last time I heavily smoked. I used to be a heavy like weed smoker. I would roll joints, roll blunts all the time, just buy fucking shitty grams and shit all the time. But there's this one time I smoked, and I believe it was November 14th, 2020 when I did it. I'm gonna check. November 14th. Um, I don't know if the video will get flagged if I show the weed that did it. It
Go for
won't.
it.
All right, so this is the weed that did it. It was dispensary. So it was my first time ever smoking dispensary.
And
And
and what
this
happened?
this was me 5 minutes after. I was chilling.
Okay,
This is me 5 minutes later.
chilling. He's eye. He's a little red in the
This
eye.
is me 2 minutes after.
He's getting a little.
Yep. And then this is right before I vomited.
Oh, you greened out.
And then I vomited. And my favorite part about these pictures is how much weight I lost on my face from vomiting. Can we just
Yeah, you literally got like bloated. Oh my
Yeah,
god, you
so
greened out. That's crazy.
badly. I dreamt my own funeral, like
And
crazy.
you smoked prior to this?
After,
Like no, like
like,
before.
yeah, a lot.
Damn, yo, like I'm starting to form my own theory because like I have a friend and I'm not gonna name his name, but he's been on the podcast before. I have a friend and he came over my house in September, I think, or he came over.
Okay.
It's technically my girl's house at or girl's mom's apartment at the time, whatever. If you want to be detailed, and he smokes a lot or often enough, you know, he smokes and whatever the fuck. Bro, he came through and he smoked with us, and we got that New York weed, you know, it's different or whatever. And you're
Yeah.
talking about how you smoke dispensary, wherever that comes from, you know, wherever the dispensary gets their shit from. Yo, and this motherfucker passed out, like upside down
Yeah.
in our dining room. And I'm just like, yo, bro, there has to be something with Southern weed that it's just like it doesn't have something that like
Yeah.
dispensary or some whatever Cali shit or whatever New York shit or whatever the fuck just doesn't have, bro. I don't know. So that's crazy that you
Yeah.
fucking that it made you green out. That's terrible.
Yeah.
It's
It
funny,
was bad.
but
It
it's
was
terrible.
bad.
Damn, bro. How
Um,
did that feel? Like what feeling did you get that made you like realize like damn I gotta throw up?
well, before I knew how to throw up, the first thing that it was my vision was in frames. So
Oh
when I'd
shit.
look left or right, it looked like snapshots of a picture. And I was like, okay, this is not right. This is not right. I tried to blink to fix it. And I looked at my friend, and he's like, yo, you okay? He could tell something was wrong physically. They turned the overhead light on, and that's when I knew. Because I always sit in red LED lights. So the second I saw the overhead go on, I was like, oh
Oh, it
shit.
was like
I
overstimulation.
My brother walks in the room, and I straight up looked at him, and I knew that he was about to see me in a most vulnerable state ever. And I was like, yo, you got to get out. You got to get out right now. So he left the room. I don't remember anything after this. Apparently, I was conscious, but I dreamt my funeral in my mind. I saw me on what are they called? The fucking things that people carry you out in the hospital, like a stretcher.
Like a
I saw
gurney,
me
yeah,
on
stretcher.
I saw me on a stretcher and a gurney, and my family standing over me, and me apologizing to them for my actions in life. I dreamt my funeral, people crying, me getting lowered into the coffin, and then I came back, and the next thing I remember is vomit coming out of my nose. And
Wow.
one of my friends is gone. He left the room because he said he couldn't handle it. And my friend said, "Bro, are you good?" And I go, "How many times did I throw up?" He said, "You threw up 5 times." And I only remember
Damn.
throwing up
Super
once out of my
dehydrated.
nose. So I threw up 4 times without any memory of it. He's like, "Yeah, bro, like it's bad." For the rest of the night, I don't have any memory of it. I don't have any memory of anything really. I just remember 2 days later sitting in my bed, still feeling like shit.
Holy
So
shit. Yo, maybe did you ever have you ever like thought that maybe you were laced or some shit?
it was straight from the dispensary. It was my friends. My friend's a very big smoker. I wasn't the only one that smoked it.
Damn.
Everyone else was fine. Yeah, it was just a bad experience for me, and
Did
I have been laced before in October, like literally a month before that. Somebody put fentanyl in a blunt.
oh shit.
I passed out in a bush for 2 hours, and I have no memory of that either. And the cops were called and shit. Yeah, it was bad. I've lost a lot of memory due to smoking, which is insane.
That's
So
crazy, bro. I mean, holy shit. I know like fentanyl's
yeah,
a big problem. It's a big problem out here too, but I know it's a big problem in Florida too, type shit. and
Yeah.
like everywhere. I feel like fentanyl's everywhere now. But
Yeah.
what was I gonna say? Sometimes also what happens, this happened to me before, is that but I didn't throw up. I felt like I had to throw up really bad though. Like I feel like I understood what you were saying. One time I smoked a blunt. It was a backwood. I rolled it
Right.
or whatever. I rolled that shit. I go outside. I had to go through the window because the back door of my parents' house has an alarm on it, and they would like arm the house at night and shit. So I go out the window, whatever. I smoke that shit. That I come back in, bro, and I felt like I lost all strength in my body. Like I was super fatigued. My legs felt weak. That was like my first sign, bro. And I got into my room and I got into my chair and I was just stuck to my chair like this. But it's a higher chair, so my head's like supported. And I was just
Right.
there like, bro. And me and my girl talked about it, and I think it was we like concluded down to being a tobacco overdose. And I didn't know that was a thing, but apparently it's a thing that you can overdose on tobacco and it makes you feel just like that, like shit.
I
So
didn't know
I
that either.
yeah, so I'm here thinking for you right now. I'm like, what could have caused that, type shit.
Yeah.
I'm like
I don't
southern
know.
weed, tobacco, laced, whatever the fuck.
Yeah, I have no clue.
Shit's
I
funny,
don't.
man.
But that's that for that one.
So that made you stop smoking type shit?
Yeah.
Yeah, so I feel you. Now just 6. That's fine. I used to get really paranoid off weed and shit, like, and I wouldn't smoke it for months at a time because I
Yeah.
would just go crazy type shit. Paranoid. But
Paranoid. Yeah.
moving henceforth, I mean, I kind of think we can reach a wrap up a little because I think we're reaching like the hour mark of our podcast, and I have a podcast booked. I think I want to say 4, but it might be 3:30, so I might be cutting it really close right now.
All right.
But our wrap up usually goes like this. Before I finish it up and ask you like the final question, I like to ask you if there's any cracks, crevices, creases, corners of atypical issue that we did not talk about or cover in this podcast. It's your interview at the end of the day, so if there's anything you want to discuss that I didn't mention, now would be the time to do so.
Alrighty. This is a question I've always gotten asked, and fun fact, my response to this question is always the first time I'll tell people is on my first podcast. This is my first podcast, so I'm gonna tell that.
Congratulations.
Thank you. And the question they always ask me is, what does your name mean? What does a typical issue mean?
Yeah, I mean
Because
that would have been even like asked with the name, the image, the aura, and the energy. But yeah, I would love
yeah.
to know that.
Um. So basically, obviously, it's a typical issue, pronounced a typical issue. Some people say atypical issue because it's the word atypical.
Right,
Um. So basically, if you were just to say something's a typical issue, it'd be a space typical space issue. Basically, just basic, another burden, a typical issue, you're typical, basic.
right,
But
right.
the word atypical means to be an outcast, to be different, to not fit in. You know what I mean?
To not be a basic issue.
So it's basically flipping a typical issue to be a typical issue. So it's basically being a burden, but not normally, not a
Right,
normal burden. So basically, my name's not a normal, is basically not a normal burden, but a typical issue just has a better ring to it. You know what I mean?
right. Yeah,
So
I think the first thing I should have mentioned it earlier. The first thing that struck me was like your name, and like I was wondering what it meant, like atypical issue. I was like, that's different.
yeah, I've
So
had
that's
sometimes I think about changing it, but I won't. I won't.
no, I think you have a good thing with that name. I wouldn't change it either.
Thank you.
Yeah, man. Um, now that we got that out of the way, which is a very important question, I'm glad you talked about it. I should have asked it. I think that's like
It's
one
all
of the.
good.
I think I've been so focused in trying to like change up the podcast and not be so like predictable that I was like, damn, that was a good question to ask, and I didn't ask it. But
All good.
now that we have that out the way, this leads to the wrap up of the podcast,
All right.
which it pretty much goes a little like this. It's just a question asking, what do what's going on for Atypical Issue? And it doesn't have to be music related at all. But what's going on for you in the next day, week, month, year, decade, century, millennium, however you want to say it?
All right.
It's pretty much like, what are you eating for breakfast tomorrow? What are you doing next week? What are you doing? Well, tell us what you got going on that you feel is of importance.
All right. Um, I'm looking extremely forward to going to Universal Studios with my fiance in a week. So I'm so excited for that. The world's biggest McDonald's is in Orlando, Florida, for those who didn't know. And so we're going to be going there. They have pizza, they have cakes. McDonald's has everything in Orlando. So I'm very excited for that.
That's awesome.
Yeah. I'm finishing wrapping up my comeback album. I haven't dropped at all in 2023 on Spotify. I only drop singles on SoundCloud. Um, yeah,
And that'll be coming
basically
soon, right?
that will be coming soon. Some before I go to Orlando, which is next week. So in between now and the 10th.
In between now and
So 8 days max
so if you're
as of
watching
this
this,
recording.
if you're watching this, motherfuckers, it could either be out now or it could be out in like 4 days. So keep a lookout.
Yeah.
Links
And that
below.
album, I will say the album title for the first time. The album's called Low Life.
All
Um,
right.
basically my last album was called Monster, and that was I would consider like my second era breakout album. My first breakout album being Ascension Parish, which is like a fucking baby to me. And I totally forgot to bring this up earlier. I want to dedicate kind of a little bit of a conversation to a story that I have with my music that I'll drag to the side for a second. So about
You
a
can go for it.
fucking
Say it. Give it to
I'm
us.
about to push that aside, but basically, yeah, Monster was my first kind of like, or my second breakout album of my personality. So throughout my albums, you're just gonna see titles of personality breaks. So you could call somebody a monster for sucking, but you could call somebody a low life for sucking too. So you're just gonna get different variations of a horrible person, and that's why that's called low life. And with the music, you'll understand that. Um, yeah, I completely forgot to talk about this to wrap that up. I'll be quick with it because it's all up in here. It's all up here. My
Go
first
for it,
album
man.
ever, my first album ever was called Red October. It was it was technically an EP. It's only 6 tracks. It was the first time I ever broke out doing something other than rap music. I did fucking like opera, weird trap metals, like weird ass shit on it that I had never done before. And I continued growing until I made my first like passion project ever, which was called Ascension Parish. It's about um honestly, I'm not even gonna explain what it's about. The first track is a narrator actually explaining the origin story. It's more than just an album. It's like a whole fucking story. It's a movie basically. Like it talks about God and turning away from religion and like being so lost. And one of my favorite songs, and it's called Message to God, and it talks about sometimes I feel like I'm talking to the walls when I'm supposed to be talking to someone who's supposed to save me. That was my first like biggest like breakout album. I love that album to death. And I feel like that was my breakout. And in that album and in Red October as well, there is a series of music I have called Turn Away. And I make those songs Turn Away Part 1, 2, 3, and the finale every time I lose somebody in my life. And I not to just lose them, but to like lose them to death like permanently.
Right.
So I just wanted to say shout out dedication to Turn Away and rest in peace to all the people that I made those songs about. Like, so if there's an album with a Turn Away in it, that's how you know it's a really meaningful album to me. So I just wanted to say that.
That's awesome, man. Shout
But
out. Shout out
yeah,
everybody.
shout out everybody. Yeah, dead, alive. Shout out everybody. But yeah, I don't know why I laughed when I said that.
Shout out
Anyways,
everybody. Dead
shout
alive.
out
Fuck
everybody.
it.
Dead, alive. Shit, I don't care.
Fuck
Gay,
it.
straight, black, white. I love everybody.
Fuck it.
Fuck it. Oh God, how to cancel myself in the last 2 minutes of the podcast.
You can't be canceled if you don't care.
That's
Facts.
true. So basically, what I'm saying is, I'm about to say every racial slur in the book right now.
And then you're gonna stand your ground.
No,
Fuck
I'm
it.
fucking not. No, I'm fucking
Oh
not. I'm
yeah, yeah.
just kidding.
So
Hell no. Hell no. I'm not Phoenix.
but
Sneak dissing. Pew 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 pew.
woo! What was I gonna say? Nah, man, that's awesome that you have like this whole like story that kind of goes along with your albums and like the works of art that you put out. And I want to say, don't be so hard on yourself because you're like, yeah, all these things that are just about a horrible person, and these are all the names of these albums. I'm like, damn, you seem like a really nice guy. So
I'm a self-aware person, so when
I would say don't be too hard on yourself. But
appreciate it.
I think it's really cool that you try to be self-aware, and I think it's really cool that you're very transparent with that in your music.
Appreciate it. Thank you.
Yeah, man.
Yeah. I guess the last thing to wrap it up, look forward to the album, Atypical Issue, all platforms. You know the vibe. Just don't listen to the album sinking. That shit sucks ass.
Hell yeah. That's
Simple.
it. And just like that, this will be the wrap up, which is that this was the Cult of Personality podcast. I'm your host, per usual, Mikeymcchoppa. With me today for the last hour or so was Atypical Issue, also Typical Issue, however you want to pronunciate it. Thank you
Hitting
guys
the
for
Donna.
Yeah, there you go. Thank you guys for sitting with the last hour with us. Thank you guys for listening and supporting on Spotify, SoundCloud, Apple Music, or Apple Podcasts, and YouTube and all that stuff. Thank you. Um, and next week we'll be here with who knows who. So stay tuned. Happy Mikey Monday, and we will see you later. Peace out.